dink town.
And you've never been up to Canada before.
Not at that point. I'm thinking to myself, oh God, of all places, this place is like, and it's a wonderful place.
Yeah. Right.
This was from my perspective.
This was Cash Money drink.
Yeah. I'm coming from California. You know what I mean? I'm sunshine. You know, sunny Bay Area. You know, to this place where it's like it seems so industrial, and it didn't seem like the city was poured into.
This is humble pie for you.
Oh man.
But were you familiar also with, there had been some successful Canadian players?
No, I didn't know. I'm just like, okay, I just know that this is a league.
Right.
What is this about, right?
This is a second-rate league. Right?
Yeah, it's not the NFL.
I mean, how would he be? How would he be at the time?
Yeah.
After the experience at San Jose State.
Yeah. And then I go there, right, and I'm saying stadium is run down. This stadium is raggedy. This the weight room is no good. My San Jose State weight room was better than this weight room here, and it's supposed to be the pros. Yeah. This is my mindset. I'm thinking, because after my little 5 minutes in Oakland, I'm like, this is a pro facility. Right. Everything's available that you need in here, and I was totally out of shape at this point too, right? I'm going out there and I'm out of shape, and throughout the year I end up meeting some wonderful people. I start getting in shape, getting my groove back. I played a couple games out there, scored my first touchdown out there, and the season was over. I come home and I changed my number for some reason. I don't know why. And then I started working at the Boys and Girls Club as assistant athletic director. I was working at 24 Hour Fitness to have a gym membership.
Where, out here?
Yeah, out here. So this was like in South Bay. So we were living, my now wife, we were living in San Jose at the time. She was teaching.
Is that where you met her?
I met her at San Jose State.
Okay,
yeah. And and then I worked at another place called Yumi. It was a kids play place facility. Okay. And I worked all these jobs. So I was working 7 days a week. I needed the membership for the gym and a little money in my pocket, and we had this cute little apartment in San Jose. And then my agent got a hold of me. He was like, the team has been trying to get in contact with you. They cut you. I said, all right. It's a perfect opportunity for me to get into the league. I've been training, and I'm thinking everything is kind of happening because the Jets had still been kind of connected with me, saying, hey, we want to bring you in, It's, we got this other running back. I forgot his last name was Powell. But he was a running back for them at the time. Yeah.
Powell?
Yeah, I believe so. And they said, but we're kind of working things out, trying to figure out, but we might want to bring you in. So I'm like, it's perfect. We want you to go back to San Jose State and do their pro day. So I'm like, I'm in shape. I'm ready to go. I know I'm fast right now. I do the pro day, killing it. This was a pro day that I thought I was going to have the year before.
Yeah.
Everything was working. I was fast. I was smooth. And nothing happened. Nothing came of it.
Oh.
I'm like, well, I'll go back to the CFL. Crickets, nothing. So now I have a year in 2013 where I'm working these 3 jobs, and I'm just living at the house with my girl. And my best friends, Peyton and Duke, they're in the NFL. And they were both playing.
Duke Johnson.
Huh?
Duke Johnson?
No, Dookie and Nacho. He was the safety for the Broncos.
Okay.
And Peyton Thompson, he was a specialist in safety for the Atlanta Falcons, but then he ended up getting over to the Jaguars. But it was just working for him, and like he was living out this dream that I also had, right?
Yeah.
And so he's getting ready to come to Oakland to play Oakland, right? And he's starting at safety. Like this is like, we were just in college, but you started in the NFL at safety, right? And so I said, this is crazy. So we go to the game, and I'm watching the game. I'm seeing how excited he is out there. I'm seeing him down there with Peyton Manning and guys that we used to play the video games on. I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is real. This is real.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tickets, and I remember going home that night, and I tacked those tickets on my wall, and I just wrote like a letter to myself, and I had that up there too. And it was just like, this is the thing that you have to do to get yourself. You need to humble yourself. You need to prepare yourself to get there. I was just so determined to put myself in that position and be there. And so I was just training every day and working these jobs and working 7 days a week. And so my wife she was a teacher at the time, and she had that dream of education policy I told you about. So I used to talk about these guys that would go to these open tryouts that these teams would have, right? So all these CFL teams used to have open tryouts, and Montreal had an open tryout at San Jose State of all places. And I was like, baby, I think I'm gonna go over here and do this tryout. They charge you $100. You know, I'm thinking to myself, you know, again, the ego is telling me to pay $100 to do what I do is crazy.
Yeah.
But at that point, I don't have no ego. I'm like, I don't have a job. I'm no different from these guys that's paying this $100, right?
Right.
So I just got paid from, you know, my couple of jobs that wasn't really paying me anything. Paid our rent, and then I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna go just try out. May as well.
Yeah.
I go down there, give them $100. You know, try to use the little clout that I had from playing with the other CFL team. They didn't really care. I said, "You guys got some scissors?" Like, yeah. And they give you these T-shirts with numbers on them. Cut the stomach out. You know, back in the day, you used to wear those shirts.
Show that.
I cut the bottom off, cut the sleeves off, throw one on my head. And I'm like,
know about that.
I said, so I'm like, which one of you guys gonna get ratted first? I'm talking shit, you know, big shit. I'm excited, you know. I'm just playing football again. At this point, I don't know what's gonna happen. It doesn't matter.
A shot's a shot.
Yeah, and I'm just having the day. You know, everything is working. Boom, boom, boom. They're like, hey, we really like you. We want you to come to camp. And I'm like, let's go. But you gotta pay your own way. That's bullshit. Right? And then so my wife, you know, her job had been consistent at that point. I said, babe, I think I'm gonna go. I think we just gotta try. You know?
It's about the passion.
Yeah, it's about the passion at this point. I can care less about anything else. I just know I need this to work. And like I said, she had that dream to become a you know someone in education policy. And so we put our 30 days in. She booked the one way to DC, and I booked the one way to Montreal. And I played in Montreal for 7 years.
Wow.
No shit.
7 years.
Alouettes.
Yep. Alouettes. I played there for 7 years.
You know what? Really quick, shout out to Michelle though.
Yeah.
Being a support system right there.
And she was also
Shout out.
there in DC.
Yeah, and she did it, and she did it, and she became successful in that too. And you know, it was a constant grind. Like, you know, obviously getting into camp, it was a grind every day. You know, busting my ass. You know, I was so desperate for that opportunity, and they had some dogs in the backfield over there.
Yeah.
Like Montreal at that time, they knew how to find talent. You're talking about Terrell Sutton, Brandon Whitaker, Stephon Logan, Chris Rainey. They had dogs in the backfield, right? And a lot of those guys were starting over me, so I didn't get reps. So I lined up 15 yards back, and I did every rep full speed. If Tyrell ran through the hole, 2 seconds later I was running behind him, you know? And I would get my sweat in and get my practice in, and that whole year I never got a chance to play in the game. I just was doing those reps. They even cut me a couple times, and I would be in DC at the house with Michelle. And I remember it was a playoff game.
But this was a more mature B-Rut.
It was a more mature B-Rut. It was a more humble B-Rut.
It was 2013, 2014?
2014. Just hungry, right? I'm in DC, and I'm already at the house crying because I got cut. And Michelle says to me again, shout out to my lady, my wife. She says, you can sulk today. She said, but tomorrow you need to get your ass up and get ready.
Hey, shout out to her
again. She had that dog, and she had that dog in her. She always has.
We have her on here next
week. No
Michelle Rutley, we need you on the show.
We need to redo the other halves podcast.
The other half.
We need her on the better half podcast.
No question.
But she'd also been through that with you a little bit too.
Yeah,
so
she's seen me fail, and
she knew.
She's always, and she feels everything. She used to cry for me too, like, God, I know you want this so badly, and she used to feel it deeply and internally. Right, and so.
Quick segue though. Happy 5-year anniversary.
Appreciate that, bro.
By the way,
congrats.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, 5 years for sure. And you joined us on that run. That was special.
That's right.
That was good. So yeah, like I said, she felt things deeply for me, and she pushed me. She was like, "You sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it." And then they called me and they said, "Hey, this is a playoff game. Both of the running backs got hurt." He said, "Hey, you're starting next week against BC, and this is the second round. This is playoffs."
And you ain't got no reps through this.
No reps. This is my first game.
But you've been preparing for it.
100 yards, touchdown.
Yeah.
Signed a 2-year contract after that, and then from there.
Damn.
This is what I find crazy about football,
Yeah.
right? It's how do you stay ready when you know
you're not ready?
there's 2, 3, 4 guys ahead of you.
Not just ready, but 100 yards and a TD.
Yeah. I think because I practice at a high level, I shadowed my guys because that's the only reps I got. I was so desperate for this opportunity, and I just didn't want this to go. Everything that since I had left college, everything had just went the wrong way. So I'm like, I don't know any other way to get this other than showing them that I'm ready to play. I can play at a high level for you. And so after that game, the off season comes. They sign me to.
That's just that passion. Sorry, but that's just that passion.
Crazy to me,
that's
right?
that love of it. That's really the love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when you, it's like at your lowest point.
I was at my lowest point, but also it was the simple fact that the NFL didn't work for me. I needed something to work. And that was a little part of
needed a win.
I needed a win. That was a little part of the ego too. So I said, I got to do everything in my power to make this work. This has to work. And there's when you get to the pros, there's this constant fear that they're replacing you. Because when you go to a team in the pros, they'll give you a jersey number that's the same as someone that's been starting for 3 years. You're just a camp body. You're just an extra for us. So I came in. They gave me number 29.
You're a stunt double.
The starting corner.
Basically,
you know, the starting corner who had been there had 29. So I'm thinking myself, fuck it. You know, I got to do something every day. And then I remember I went to my locker and my number was different. I didn't pick this number neither. It was 33.
What does this mean?
To me, that was a great. It was a great sign because they said you need your own individual number because we're keeping you, obviously. So to me, that I'm like, I would look at little things like that. That means my jersey number changed. I'm looking at I would go around the locker room looking at cats' jerseys to make sure there's nobody else with that 33. I'm like, that's mine. I must be on this team.
I could work with the Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I'm like, I could work with this. If this is the number, because you know, when you're younger, you think a number is important to you. Like,
a number is important.
I could give a shit about it when I was there. I'm like, give me a number, and I'm good with it. Yeah. And like from there, I come back after that. I signed a 2-year contract, and the other running backs were still there, but they were giving me love. You know, I'm rolling with the first teams.
What was it like to be able to just sign a contract like that? The process to having gone through this to sign a contract with a professional team.
No, it was definitely fulfilling, but I was still on edge.
Sure.
You know, that I've never received rejection before, like I did like through the league and stuff like that. So I was still like, I couldn't even enjoy it as much as I probably wanted to. Because I'm like, I got to get ready.
You got to get to work.
Because I know what these boys are ready.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed, right? So I'm like, I came home during that off season and I got after. That's when I really put like my muscle on. Like I came home to Martinez, and they would make me walk to Alhambra every day from Morello, and that might have been 6-7 miles to Morello or to Alhambra. I would walk every day, and I would go to the gym, and they would open up the gym for me at Alhambra, and I would just get it in for a couple of hours, hit the field. And then I would walk back, and they would be feeding me steak and eggs.
Carnivore diet.
Chicken and chicken and green beans and stuff like that. I just got healthy. I got strong as hell, you know. And when I came back into camp, they're like, "Damn, I see that you've put the weight on, you know." And I'm not only am I running, you know, and still juggling people, but I'm running through people now. And so I'm like, okay, they treat me a little bit differently. They're giving me more reps. It's myself and Terrell Sutton. Well, Terrell Sutton was the starter. And if you guys ever want to see a dog in the backfield, pull up his film. Like, he runs through people. And
just so we can process the physique difference, what'd you put on in weight?
So when I first went out there, I might have been 197. I probably went back out there at 210.
Okay.
Damn. Okay.
I might have went out there at 210. And it wasn't like I was even trying to do it. I didn't know I was putting on weight. I just had never spent time in a gym like that. I never did that in college. I never bust my body. So I didn't know what my body was capable of. Right? I didn't know that I was gonna grow a running back's physique. I just was like, okay, let me just work hard and see what happened. And like, you know, I just put muscle on. And you know, that muscle weighs more than anything else. And so I'm like, damn, I'm a big running back. That's what people were considering me, because I'm not short. So I was like considered a big running back. And they were just giving me opportunity, right, between special teams, and we ran this package called Tails, where it's 2 backs, and I noticed that I was getting more and more reps with the first team, and all the running backs are my boys now, and the superstar that was there was Brandon Whitaker, but he was a little bit older. He was probably at that point 30 or 31. So like, we got to phase him out. We got some new blood in here. And you hate to see that happen, but camp was over.
It's a process.
And then I remember.
How did you balance that?
It's hard.
That's tough, right?
It's really tough, and
because you want that. You want that expertise.
Yep.
And that knowledge from the vets.
Yep.
But at the same time,
you don't want to take his place.
Yeah.
They know, and you know.
Yep.
I'm here to take your place.
I'm here to take your job.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how did you?
It's understated.
How did you tiptoe that line, and how did you balance that?
But did you know that you were doing that?
Oh, I knew I was going to take somebody's job. I didn't know who. I didn't care. I just know that I needed to be here.
Because you were hungry.
Yeah. It was my turn. That's how I felt. Like I've been really busting my ass. I've changed my physique for this. You know what I mean? I've really been putting the time in to get this job. And based off what I've seen in practice, based off the conversations that I was having with the scouts, I remember going into the laundry room during camp, and there was a scout in there. And one thing that I've always been good at is I'm a communications major. Okay. So I know how to have a conversation with somebody.
Make a good first impression.
Interpersonal communication. I want to know, what you guys are thinking. Manipulative in some ways, right? What are you guys thinking? So I'm asking general questions, making it feel easy. Yeah, man, it's been a good camp so far. Yeah. Yeah, he said, the team looks pretty good. I said, what do you think about the players? How we looking out there? He said, guys looking good. We're excited about what's going on. I said, yeah. I said, we got a good group of backs, don't we? I said, we got some good guys out there, and
through that hood,
he's
like, through the little hood.
He's like, yeah, you guys. He said, yeah, you guys look good. He said, we're so impressed with the fact that you came back and you put this weight on. We're really excited about the season. I said, okay. I'm reading. Okay, I'm really excited about the season. Oh, I made this team. I must be here. You're talking about me. You guys are talking about my physique and how things have changed.
What you want to hear.
I heard what I wanted to hear, and what I heard was that you guys are excited about the change that I made and what that's going to be like in the season.
He went from read the room to CIA the room.
Yeah.
Hey, I was trying to figure it out because you're so desperate for that opportunity.
Scene, investigation.
You're trying to figure out what is going to work here, and sure enough, they end up cutting my brother Brandon Whitaker. But he ended up going to Toronto and dominating. And then especially when he played us, he didn't even smile at us. He just dominated all game. He dominated all game and showing y'all messed up. Y'all messed up. That's part of the game.
That's what makes you great.
That's what makes you great, right? And
so have that chip on your shoulder.
So I got to learn a lot from those guys, and really implement that into my game, and really I was able to grow from there. To be truthfully honest with you, in 2016 is when I probably should have left Montreal, but I was still afraid of rejection, right? So it was my free agency year, and I think I could have easily went somewhere else. There was teams that called, and I'm like, damn, I don't know if I want to be in this open market again. I haven't really felt that since I was rejected from the league, so I was so afraid to.
It was comfort.
It was nice having security.
It was nice, like they said, hey, we like what we have here in Montreal, but you're not our starter, Brandon. Tyrell is. But we like having you as a backup.
That's tough.
We like having you as a backup.
I'm sure that's tough to hear.
To me, at that point, it wasn't because I had security, right? And I was making good money. I'm like, I'm making good money. I'm making more money than a lot of the starters that's in the league, And so, I was also playing, like, there's an 18-game season. I was playing 9 games. I'm thinking to myself, it's a long season.
Longevity.
Protect my body. We're both eating. Like, if I'm having a really good season, I can have 600. If I was dialed in, I should have been having 700 yards a season. But maybe I might get 500 or 550 because I was in those streets. That was just part of it. But if I should have left in 2016 because there was a few teams that were interested in me.
All in the CFL?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even I didn't even want to try to test the waters to try to go back to the league. I was just scared. Yeah. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stay here. If a team was guaranteed out there, maybe go try. But I didn't want to go through the experience again. I was scarred from that experience. So, and that was again a regret of mine because I think if I can go back now, I'd be like, man, let's test the waters wherever there's an opportunity to see if I can be that, that guy somewhere else.
It's understandable though.
And so I stayed in Montreal 2016, and then, there was a transition. 2017 season comes. I was traded to Vancouver during the off season, but this was a breath of fresh air. Vancouver is it's like the league. It's the NFL. The facilities are beautiful. The stadium is huge. It's just a different perspective out there. And I was ready to be that guy. and they were.
Why though? Why is that so different? Why was it so different there?
It was just because it's just like I don't know. It's just the city was just bigger. It was more vibrant. It was just more sports focused.
They put in more into the team.
They put way more. The locker room was nice. The facilities were gorgeous.
And Vancouver is just a beautiful
It's
town
a beautiful
all around.
place.
So
and
that
Montreal
makes
is
sense.
very special too. I love Montreal, but if football-wise, you want to be in Vancouver or Toronto or Saskatchewan, like a big football town, and
It's a bigger market.
yeah, it's a bigger market, right? And then my first game, because they were phasing the other running back out. My first game, again, it's third quarter. I got 98 yards and a touchdown. It's third quarter. Before I hadn't even started yet.
Third quarter.
I blow my ACL.
Oh.
Blow my ACL. I'm like, oh my God, did this really just happen?
Is it early in the season or?
It's the first game.
First
game.
Did you know it?
Oh yeah, I knew. As soon as I planted, I said, "Oh my God, I just blew my."
Non-contact. It was just you playing.
Well, I was getting ready to spin, but I stretched my leg before I spun, and shit just blew out. And I'm thinking to myself, "Here we go again, another."
How many times?
Another
did that
setback.
happen to you?
That was the only time That's the only time I ever got injured. But here's a setback. Here's
You
something.
knew. You knew it was an ACL.
I knew it was an ACL, right? Because at this point, I just turned 30.
Ooh.
I got three solid years that I was going to be able to dominate there in Vancouver.
Short lifespan as a running
before, at this point too, I'm like, I'm fine at the, 3 years, I'll be 33. I'm ready to get out of this anyway, right? And I was so frustrated. And then I sit in with the GM and the head coach. Be like, we knew this was what you were going to do. They said it's all good. They said we'll go get you surgery.
We knew this was you.
They said we knew you were going to dominate. We saw that. That's what they said. We saw that in you. We knew that you were going to do this. This is what we expected. They said it's good. So early in the season, go get surgery, and we'll see you next season. So at the time, it was again. This is God's doing His work, right?
Yeah.
I was sent home. After that, I was still getting paid all season, watching my team. I'm rehabbing, and I'm with my wife, and this is my first time being home as an adult, making money with her while she's working also. And
She moved back at this time?
yeah,
then?
at this point she's moved back already. She's moved back already.
So you're back in the Bay Area.
We're in Oakland.
Okay.
We're in Oakland. We're in the Bay. We're in Oakland, and we're just living it up. We're eating good. We're going out. We're experiencing life together, like as two adults. And we're like, this is what it's like to make money together and be in the same space. And we got married that off season, right? So it was that time that I needed that time to be with her, to plan the wedding, to prepare everything. And I rehabbed, and not only did I feel healed physically, but I healed mentally, right? I have really matured a lot. My focus was different. I didn't care about, all the ins and outs and things. And then we had our wedding. We finished up. I go back to season. I'm ready. They think I'm going to be hobbling a little bit. I'm ready to go. But they did bring another running back. That was a starter. They didn't start me because of that. I'm like,
This is 2020. Now.
This is 2019.
2019.
This is 2019. So, my brother John White, dope running back, right? But they're like, you know what? We don't care. We're bringing you both on. You guys are going to be a tandem for us, And so we go through camp. And then they give us a call and they're like, hey, you guys are all active. But this is what I wanted, just to be able to go into camp where I'm respected. People know my skill, my talent. And Michelle drives up for that first game with her best friend. And, I'm starting on kick return, right? Never ran a kick return back in my life. Mind you, not through high school or anything. I'm out there. She's in the stands. They kick me the ball.
But you're doing it.
I'm doing it, right?
Because that's what's best for you and the team.
Yeah, it's best for, and then I'm rotating in the backfield. I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm active.
you're
being active. You're flying with
you're
the team.
on
You're
the
doing
field.
everything.
You say Michelle drove up to Canada?
Yeah, her and her friend. Because
Get you someone that will drive up
get
to
you
Canada.
someone that'll drive up to Canada. So her and her girlfriend, because they were driving up, she was driving up one of our extra cars so I could have it for the season. And she's been to a couple of games out in the CFL, but again, I was always behind somebody. I wasn't really playing. So she didn't really get to see me in action as a pro as much as I would have loved to see it. She didn't see all those touchdowns. You know what I mean? So after tearing my ACL, all this setback, they kicked the ball off, 109-yard touchdown.
Off the bat.
Off the and her
First
best
game.
First game.
Opening.
No, I wasn't the opening kickoff because I think it was probably our first. I think, no, it was our first kick return of the game.
Damn.
Her best
Not the
friend.
bad. I just went from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. to midnight. Right?
Yeah, you
best,
did.
Her best friend was recording, right? She was recording, so she recorded me catching the ball, and I hear them screaming in the background all the way to me scoring, and she pans the camera back to Michelle, and Michelle is fucking elated. Like she is jumping.
That was
up
like
and
your
down.
ultimate joy.
Oh
right there,
my
right? Yeah,
Bro.
I know.
That's like that Jerry Maguire moment, right?
It was,
like, that's like,
it was not, it makes me emotional every time I think about it.
That's dope.
Because the journey, right? That was part of the journey. Was all that, all the way to get to that point, to see my wife. She was my wife at this point too, jumping up and down, bro. It was nuts, nuts to experience that.
Yeah.
And so everything that I wanted in football at that point was happening.
It's all the hard work you put into.
for that moment.
For that,
Up to that.
for a moment.
For a
man.
moment.
To be honest with you,
Right?
bro,
Yeah,
it was
but
very
at that point, it was the dual hard work.
Yeah.
The hard work they put into it
Yeah,
to see that,
Yeah.
to see that
100%.
materialize, right?
It was really incredible.
That's great, man.
To experience that, and at that point, you know, right too, I left school early too, right? I had 4 classes left. I also I was getting all my classes done online during that season too. I'm on a computer. I'm finishing up a paper, you know. So after the season was over, after all that happened, I go home. My degree was in the mail already.
Nice.
So it was just like
Yes.
at that point, I'm like myself. Then COVID hits. I'm like, I'm done playing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta retire. I'm done. There's nothing more
Did what
that I
I
can
could
do
do.
from this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and it was just such a sweet ending
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
such a journey.
Did you feel complete?
Oh
at that
yeah,
point?
for sure,
Okay.
for sure. I was ready at that point. I'm like, there's nothing more that this league can give me.
Yeah.
Like in a point, I'm like, you know, at this point, I think I just turned 32. I'm like, I know that I want to eventually start a family. I want to be here. I can't keep leaving, especially after COVID. My wife and I were already close. That just made us closer. We just had so much fun together. I'm like, and she got pregnant. I'm like, there's no way I'm leaving you during pregnancy.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just done. And then, you know, what's interesting, my running back coach that was in Montreal, he called me and he was like, yeah, you know, I got this head coaching job in Toronto. I want you to come up. I want you to be, you know, be the guy here.
Okay.
And, you know,
Life was moving at you.
the old me would have been like, hell yeah, let's go, you know.
Yep.
I told Michelle, I said, I think I'm done, babe. I think I'm done, you know. And that was hard for me too. I was like, I think I'm done. He said, well, if you feel like that, that's okay. So I said, but hey, but if you really need me, you know, you can give me a call, you know. But I decided at that point, and I was like, oh, I feel good about this. And, you know, I retired in 2021. And Michelle was like, how you feel? I said, I said, no big deal. I feel good about it. You know, I go to the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror, I come out, I'm boo-hooing. I'm like, you hit me? Yeah. Yeah, you know.
How do you that's a great point. How do you balance knowing when like not to be callous, but like how do you know when your time is done? Versus like I'm ready for my next chapter. Like I'm ready to be a coach or mentor.
A lot of guys get
else.
pushed out. A lot of guys get cut.
That's what's different.
And I think that hurts when you're not ready to go and someone tells you that you gotta go.
Because it's such a short shelf life, right?
It's a short shelf life.
So
yeah.
like, how do you balance that short shelf life with, like I'm willing to trade the opportunity to mentor someone else?
For me, it wasn't necessarily about mentoring anybody else. I think for me, it was just, I just felt like everything that I could do there, I did. You know, I think my window for being like the superstar guy out there was that 2016 window when
How did you know?
How did I know that I was done?
And I don't want to be that callous.
Well,
but
no,
like, how did you know? Like, maybe this isn't for me.
I had no desire to train during the off season. After I got back home, I had zero
That's it,
desire
right
Yeah, there it is.
to go out there and like I didn't prepare myself.
It's
Like
that
I knew
day-to-day
COVID was
part.
even like, you know, with COVID and stuff like that. I just knew I'm like, I have not been on this field getting after it. Like I worked so hard to get myself ready after I tore my ACL
Earlier.
that I felt like I gave everything I had to be able to get back and to be able to have the best season that I can have. And I have no desire to train that way again for,
A whole season.
For a
So
whole season.
this is a good segue, right?
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah.
into the second half,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
because
Second half.
you're not you're not just moving into a situation where you're moving from player to coach and so on and so forth, a mentor, mentorship. You're now moving into a situation where you're recognizing, I don't even want football anymore. It's time for me to focus on my family. So when do you know it's time for you to just move away from the sport, being an athlete your whole life, and now say, I'm ready to just devote this to family time?
For me, obviously, I think COVID was a blessing in disguise for us because Michelle and I are very much homebodies, and so like we loved COVID. Like everything slowed down for us because normally she was at work, busy. You know, she works for it was called Facebook at the point. It's Meta now. But she's been there for nearly 8 years, but she was always there. You know, it was work for her, moving. I was always doing something. So the only time that we got together was at nighttime, really. you know. But that was the first time in a long time we got to just sit down at the house and just hang out and just enjoy each other. You know, play video games, cook for each other, you know, pour into each other. Say that, yeah, we want to have a family together, you know, but everything don't have to be perfect for us to do that. And through that process, we just learned that, you know, life is better with each other than apart. Because we did struggle, like, you know, that distance, right? Sometimes it'll be 2-3 months before we saw each other. Because it wasn't like we were just making the most money in the world. We can just hop on the jet anytime and see each other, right? And so that was wearing on us. So to have that experience and experiencing life at in that way, and us both making money at the same time, because you know it's a necessity, right? Was fulfilling. We really felt fulfilled and happy with each other, and that was more fulfilling than leaving for 6 months of the year. And so I said I need to start my transition. And you know, I spoke about fashion earlier. That was like something I've always enjoyed. So I'm thinking to myself, what can I do to, you know, tie fashion into some kind of business or something like that? Because I don't want to go work some 9 to 5 at some point after having so much freedom, right? So I started the process of kind of building this little brand for myself called The Trend. And the idea behind The Trend is, by definition, is to move in a direction of development and change. And I kind of implemented that into fashion, right? Like, you know, like you said earlier, you can put something on and you can you know, choose the direction that you go in, right? You want to elevate yourself, you want to be different, but still being you at the core, right? And so I developed this brand and started like a small business where I was styling men and doing things like that. And a huge part of that was that ego still creeping back in, like I gotta have my name attached to something leaving football. So I can't just leave without not having something else that I'm doing. People need to know that, right? So that ego creeped in a little bit again, right, at that point, right? So I developed that, was posting things on social, X, Y, and Z. My wife is pregnant now, so I gotta have something going on, right? I'm, you know, I launch it, you know, I'm getting some clients, you know, I'm making a little bit of money, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know,
was that through your network?
Yeah, through my network and stuff like that. At this point, I don't know a goddamn thing about marketing, promoting, so I'm not really reaching any masses. But you know, the people that knows me and like, you know, maybe appreciate my style, they're you know, hey, let me call in, let me help me X, Y, and Z.
Quick pause. Going from the mentality of having to train on the daily, to grind, to rehab, you know, to prep yourself, change your body. It's a daily thing when you're playing, right? Was there a change in mentality at all as you prepare to run your own business, or is it the same mentality?
I definitely had that mentality. It was like you know, I think sports definitely helped me. Like I was more disciplined and like I gotta find a way to get this done in a timely manner, right? I gave myself a window of time of like, okay, January, this is when this is coming out.
So concrete goal setting then.
Yeah,
so that structure you were looking for.
That structure I was looking for.
Right.
I had developed that over the years from meeting great mentors and great coaches and great friends and people that I saw really hone in on their skills. I would take those little bits and pieces from them and implement it into my life, right? I used to, you know, I love people. I connect with people easily, but what I started doing as I got older is I started taking those great qualities from people that I saw and implement them into my own you know, into my own self and trying to, you know, kind of be a better running back and a better person. And so that was part of that journey and transition into like, you know, having my own business and my own brand. And I did that for a little while and I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I should move to LA. You know, I can definitely connect with people. A lot of my friends are out there, but I've never been someone to ride somebody's coattail. I'm just not into that. Although like my friends and stuff out there got clout, they got following, I'm not someone that's gonna be like, hey, let me jump on your back and use what you have. That's just not who I am. So we moved to LA, and our daughter is 4 months old. My wife is transitioning back into work. I had no time for the trend. I was full-time dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wanted my wife to transition back into work. So that time, I'm getting up, I'm spending the day with my daughter, this valuable time, that I just really appreciated. And I'm like, man, I'm doing the bare minimum for the business. I'm thinking to myself, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I probably should be, trying to figure this out. But I wasn't a complete bonehead with the money that I made out there. So I was able to use some money during that stint that I was out there at in LA, and I was able to sustain my life while being a full-time dad and making sure my wife is able to transition back into work. Like she always had my back. I wanted to make sure I had hers, because you know how it is. Your wife start changing and they're developing and they're trying to get back to who they were, or a new version of themselves, right? And I wanted to make sure she had that peace of mind. So my days were filled when I was in LA, when I thought they were going to be filled with me having multiple clients and all these things like that, where it was I was changing diapers. I was at the park with my daughter going on walks and things like that.
Another humbling moment.
Another humbling moment, but a moment that I actually really loved and really appreciated.
Yeah.
And I got to walk through this
build
really.
That bond.
You can't take that back.
You can't, right?
To build that
So
bond
that's that window
with
of
your
time
kid.
that you.
Every day we're walking through this little cute neighborhood called Magnolia, right? At this point, we're living in apartments. We're like, ooh, I would love that house. I see these kids out there playing, on swings that, parents attached to the trees. I see, pools in the backyard. I see certain facades that you really appreciate it. And this is me and Michelle and, baby Sage walking around the neighborhoods, and Michelle go back to work, and I'm doing that throughout the day. And, I was thinking to myself, okay, don't get me wrong, I love the business, I love the idea of it, but I love this family that we're building more. This is so fulfilling, and it's bringing me so much joy. And again, here's Michelle. She's like, babe, there's an opportunity at Meta. I'm recruiting. They did during that off season, and some of the work that I would do. Also during the off season, I would work as a behaviorist with my buddy Joshua Brown. He's the CEO of Faces, the company I work for right now. I would do some work with him with a different company that we were connected with, and connected all that information and was able to present myself as someone who was somewhat knowledgeable about recruiting. So I got the opportunity. They start you off at six figures, and all these things. I'm thinking to myself, this is what life is like outside of ball. I'm one of the few lucky ones that's experiencing the positive sides.
Especially working for a premier tech company.
What? I mean, this is a top company. I'm thinking to myself, holy shit! Man, we are in a, we are doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they gave me an offer. Said, hey, you want to be remote? You can stay in LA. I said, no, we need the family support. Let's go home. Let's go home. And we ended up coming home, moving to Michelle's mom's house, and we spent about almost a year there. And me and Michelle stayed up in the room. We've had our desk on each side of the bed. And we'd be in meetings and stuff like that. End up getting an apartment in Walnut Creek. And then
Shout out.
yeah.
Well, let's do this really quick. Let me encapsulate everything.
Yeah.
As we fast forward, you're just transitioning from your CFL life.
Sure.
You're married.
Yeah.
You've got Sage.
Yeah.
You're now back in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
You're enjoying your fatherhood. You're figuring out what your next chapter is.
Yeah.
So let's frame from there.
Yeah.
What is life now? What is your focus now? What is the brand? What is the movement? And why did you start this exercise trend on Saturdays and Tuesdays?
Life now is good. It's where I'm meant to be. We are, I would say, our family dynamic. We're thriving. We're very balanced right now. We have peace, and I think that's where we are in our life right now. Peace is most important to us.
Peace is the most important
Peace
to
is.
everybody.
To everybody, but not everybody understands that. Like a lot of this conversation, you guys heard me talk about ego.
Yeah.
Ego is attached to validation. I desire none of that from anybody. I get so much of it from my wife and my daughter, right? I'm overflowing with validation from them, so I don't desire any of that.
It checks that box.
That box is so checked. It's unbelievably
Checks
checked.
that whole week, whole month, whole week.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's a very special thing to experience. I'm more in a space now in my life where it's about pouring into other people, pouring into community, building a space for people that they feel good about themselves, they're pushing themselves, and they're creating bonds, right? I want to create a community that Sage trusts, that we trust for Sage, right? Sage had a birthday party, last Saturday, and there was multiple friends from that running group that would take our baby and go put her on the ride, and Michelle and I didn't blink an eye about it. We trust them.
Yeah.
We trust them wholeheartedly, and because we've taken the time to pour into these people. They've taken the time to pour into us, and I think it's so important to build the kind of community that you want to see for your family and your friends, right? And that's something that we've really worked hard on, right? And work is great too. As I told you earlier, I'm the director of talent acquisition for Faith in Action Community Education Services, a mental health agency, and we've grown tremendously over the last 5 years. And it's something that I did during the off season. Every year I would come home, I would just do a little work as a behaviorist for the company and things like that. And during that stint I had at Meta for a year, I learned all I needed to know about talent acquisition. I spoke to the head of my department, and he would teach me things and teach me these learnings. And then all these layoffs came, right? Here's another bump in the road. But then my buddy Josh called me and said, hey, I need this expertise over here because this company has grown. We've gone from 5 employees to 180 in 5 years, and it's still growing.
Yeah.
Right? So God has placed me in places that I probably didn't want to be, but where I was meant to be. Yeah. Right? And so I've really been appreciative of all those things that's happened and all the changes that's happened in my life. And I'm grateful and I'm humbled and I'm grounded, and my family is too.
Talk specifically about the type of work that you're doing. Like, what does a day in the life look like? Today's Saturday, so on 2 days, Monday, Tuesday. What are you doing? So right now, right, it's like the end of the school year right now, right? And so a lot of schools are figuring out what their needs are for this upcoming school year, right? And obviously also negotiations with other districts of trying to provide our services to them, right? Think about myself. I could have used a behaviorist or an instructional aide that was connecting with me, that was similar to me, back when I was in school. Not someone that was telling me because I had these outbursts, but someone was saying, hey, Brandon, you better sit down and do this homework because you got a scholarship to Cal Berkeley that can change your life and your family's life, right? So we're providing those people for these school districts, right? So, are the people working with, are they working with the counseling department? Are they working with?
It just depends on the school's needs, right? So the school need, they may say, hey, we need 2 mental health counselors, or we have 5 kids with IEPs, individual education plans, and they need behaviorists or instructional aides.
Is there a target age?
It can be anywhere K through 12, honestly. Some kids don't have the support at home, right? So they have somebody they can count on at school that's working with them every day, that's consistent with them, right? And so that's a huge part of this process.
There's
also
a hands-on aspect, it sounds like.
Elaborate more on the IEP. A lot of people don't know what an IEP is. Elaborate more
so
on
an
that.
individual education plan is someone, right? So there could be a kid in school that, that's having trouble, like, they could have they can be dyslexic, they can have a slight disability, or they can have a lot of trouble at home, not getting the kind of attention that they need, X, Y, and Z, and it's resulting into poor behaviors in the classroom, running out of their classrooms, walking out, not finishing their homework, not doing the things that they need to do, right? And so during these IEP meetings, they'll have specialists in there, right? A special education teacher, different staff members come in there, right? And they devise a plan that's appropriate for the student to succeed, right? So if they say, okay, hey, I need you to come in here, I need you to bring us, 3 behaviors. We have one for Johnny, Jenny, and Caitlin, right? And so we'll.
So this is some of the growth of Faces then, just having that staff available.
Yeah, having that staff available.
Specialized.
So what's important now, right, is before we didn't have like a recruiting department. right? So now we have the infrastructure to say, okay, you know what, let's actually recruit for these people. So one of the things now we're doing is proactively connecting with the schools early on enough to say, okay, here's our needs for 24, 25. You know, we need 15 behaviors, we need 3 mental health counselors, we need a psychologist, we need X, Y, and Z. So now we're going through our recruiting platform and we're reaching out to these people, we're finding these people who are licensed, credentialed, and prepared to go into these schools. And they actually have a passion for this too, right? Because a lot of agencies will find people who need some money, who don't necessarily have the passion. I'll put you through this quick training course, you know, so you can be on campus and sit with this kid, and maybe be on your phone, X, Y, and Z. We want people who are actually in education, who's getting there.
And you're doing the recruiting then.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of screen for it.
I'm screening. I'm screening for it, and like, you know, I'm very thorough about it.
Let me interrupt you really quick though. Do you ever take a moment to pause on the irony that someone, B. Rutt, 16, 17, Alhambra star, running back, who needed some structure, is now in a position where you're here evaluating for people who can be in charge of an IEP?
It's not even irony though, right? It's almost like you said, God's plan. Like
and not irony, I guess more like, what's the word I'm looking for? More like
I'm looking full circle,
like a full circle sliding doors type of, you
I know
know.
what you're saying.
No, I look at it
like a full circle, basically.
I sit with it.
Yeah.
I sit with all these things. Like I'm a person, and you guys will all get to know that more, and especially you, because I know you're going to be out there more. Serendipity.
That's what I was
You'll see, especially as you involve yourself in more of these runs and things like that. I sit with this stuff. I really appreciate people for who they are and what they're doing in the moments they're in, right? I soak up as much as I can soak up, because when you have kids, and you all know this, time is fleeting. And it's going so quickly, and you see it because your baby's face is changing every day, which means you're getting older. You know what I mean? And so I really sit down and I soak up, you know, as much as I can possibly soak up every moment, and you know, that moment in time, and I think to myself, wow, this was all part of the journey. I can connect it back to, you know, when I was in Pop Warner, I can connect something that I'm doing right now to when I was a kid. And that set me on that path. I think it's amazing, and I'm grateful for it. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for putting me in this space. Thank you for putting me in this moment, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to connect with such amazing people.
Where'd you get that sense of gratitude or humility or being able to be present to be able to recognize that? Is that something that's innate for you, something that's learned? Is that your family?
It was probably my mom, right? Because my mom's been sick for, my mom has probably been sick for, she's been sick for the last 20 years.
But also a single mom of 4.
Single mom of 4. She was on dialysis for 9 years. You're only supposed to be on dialysis for maybe 3 or 4 years. Because she had diabetes.
Type 1 diabetes?
I think so. And then she had a kidney failure. And you're only supposed to be on dialysis for a short amount of time, right? But she had this constant belief that she was getting her kidney. I'm thinking to myself, Mom, you have this shitty insurance. You're probably getting bypassed on a regular basis. You're 60-something years old. You're not getting. I'm thinking about kidney, but forever. She was like, "Oh yeah, when my kidney comes, you know, I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z."
Just the belief, the faith.
Just this belief and this faith and this knowing that this is going to happen for her, right? And so, even when Mom was at her sickest, I remember when she found out she had diabetes, her sugar was so high that they're like, she's supposed to be dead. But I remember coming to the hospital and she's crying. I'm crying, and she's straight stone faced. She's like, "Don't worry, because when you worry, I'll worry." That's how she was able to respond to me during a time where she was just so ill. You know what I mean? And this has actually happened in February. This has been 9 years. She calls me. She said, "Hey, babe, the hospital's gonna call you because they said they have my kidney." I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, okay." Hospital calls me and said, "Hey, you're gonna be the person that's gonna be driving your mom to the hospital for her to get this transplant?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, so keep your phone on, and because it has to happen fast. You have to get yourself ready." And I was just in shock. I couldn't even really process what was happening. And Michelle was asking me again. She's like, "Baby, how are you feeling?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm good. The whole way to pick up my mom, I'm just boo-hooing in the car. I'm boo-hooing in the car, not because she's getting this kidney, because I'm thinking to myself, God, she knew that this was going to happen for her. Something kept telling her that this was going to happen at some point, even when you're not even supposed to be at this point where this is happening. And that to me was just so amazing. And then I said, okay, well, it's like in some senses, it's not blind faith. It's faith that she knew was happening because she's obviously getting something from somewhere. And I felt like I have that same gift, so to speak. Where I knew I would always say, okay, this will be fine. Michelle, we can have Sage right now. We'll end up being in the house soon, the kind of house that you want, and it's come to pass, right? I think if you put the right effort in, and time in and energy, those things really happen. The attitude, right?
Look at the parallels, though. It's funny that story you just told. I love it because the parallels of her just kind of knowing the moment's going to come.
Yep.
Believe, be ready.
Yep.
And then, like you were just describing the moment you had when you know that when, after you've done the rehab and everything, and you were ready in that same moment, right? And now even what you're doing now.
Yeah.
It's pretty beautiful to see that.
I appreciate that.
Let me take a quick moment here, though. The second half here, when we're prepping for these podcasts, we have a second half chat.
Yeah.
So Dino over here asked me, well, how'd you meet Brandon?
Yeah.
So then I said, I only had to run up a hill, sprint up a couple times to get him here. So, that's how I met him. I told my wife this. Dino asked me this question, so this is what I said. She says, nah, fool, I ran up 5 times. You ran up you jogged. You jogged twice. I was like, but it was 3 weeks out of surgery that I jogged up. So that's part of it. But all that to say, in that experience of meeting you there at the meeting point, which is at your house, one of the best neighborhoods in Concord, by the way, I wanted to take this moment to tell you, I feel that it's special for a few moments. When we met there, there's this overwhelming sense of what the hell did I get myself into? Because we're waiting, we don't know what we're waiting for. Here's this big buff dude bringing out weights from the garage, telling people to grab a weight. I'm like, I ain't grabbing a weight. I don't know what I'm getting into.
Let me get
sure
this
enough,
5 pounds.
that was a wise decision, by the way, because you're hiking to the hill, and that hike was like at least a mile. I'm probably exaggerating, but it felt like a mile. So Brandon's getting everything organized. He's got a few of the people going there passing weights out. I'm like, hell no, you ain't giving me no weight. But we get up there, we're walking. Brandon's got this. What you got? What's that boom box?
That boom box that was a bump box.
A bump box. So I'm walking. I'm in the rear because I'm the one holding up the rear. I'm the slowest. But I'm watching people's reactions to this because you're in a neighborhood, a residential neighborhood, and you've got this ex-CFL player still fit as shit, leading the charge with a bump box. There's probably 25, 30 of us following, like he's the Pied Piper. We're following. But I'm watching people's reactions and I'm like, oh, I know what they're processing right now. What is this dude doing for the community? And then you realize he gets to this point because then from there, all I'm doing is observing from that point. And you probably had like a couple, 3 to 4 older, white, 60 to 65-year-old demographic ask, what are you guys doing? And you see this dude leading this charge of people just trying to get fit, leading this community. And that's why it was special for me. Yeah. Because people don't do that shit for free.
No.
This sticks out because you just took the initiative to be like, one day I'm going to do this. I'm going to organize some people through some more networking, get people together. So tell us, what sparked that idea? What made that happen for you?
Well, number one, I retired in 2021, and after that, I stopped training. I didn't have the desire, right? I'm like, I don't have a game to train for anymore. Mm-hmm. So why am I going to go out there and bust my ass and get myself in shape?
You shift into family mode, too.
I shifted into family mode, right? And then I definitely put on some dad weight, right? I'm like, damn, I look different. Clothes are fitting different, But I was like, I didn't feel as strong. I didn't feel as healthy as I felt before. And one of my best friends, BJ, he had a bachelor party in Toronto. And remember I told you my old running back coach is the head coach over there now. Right. So I hadn't been there since, I retired. So when I got there, it was a very, as much as I enjoyed being with him, it was a very emotional time because I got to visit the Toronto facility, connect with my old coach, sit in on meetings, and look at guys doing what I used to do. And at that point, I really had this feeling like, I was not in the greatest shape, I still look like I could play. And the GM was like, hey, if we need you, could we call you? I'm like, yeah. It made me feel good, right? Again, a little ego there. I'm like,
It's a nice
yeah,
compliment.
I appreciate that. Wow. And so I go home, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It was the first time I was able to get there. I knew that I was happy with the decision I made, that I was done, but I got to feel that locker room again. I got to see guys that was still out there playing when I was playing. I'm thinking about my era guys are kind of phased out.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a running back named by the name of Andrew Harris. He's a Canadian running back, superstar out there. He was on his last leg. He's like, I can care less about being the guy anymore. There's another guy here. I'm just finishing out this year. I'm probably going to be transitioning to something else. And I'm thinking to myself, I've already transitioned. I'm already into a new career.
Yeah.
And I did that at 32. It's 2023 or almost 2024, and here you are, and you've been playing since 2011 or 2010.
Damn.
And it's not like it's a bad thing. It's so amazing that you were able to sustain so long, but you still have to go through that phase of transition, of figuring out what's next for you career-wise. I know you have your family, but again, you're gone from your family for an extended time when you're playing during the season.
Sure.
And so I'm just looking at it. I'm like, I remember last time I saw him, he, he looked a little bit younger, a little bit more, sprightly. He, he had a little ground in his face, and I'm thinking to myself, it's time for you to let this go.
He's hanging on.
And hang this up. I'm thinking, I was thinking about that, and one of my old lineman coaches, that's also the coach there too, he said, "Hey, you gonna speak to the team?" I'm thinking to myself, no, this isn't even about me.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I would love to let me get in front of the team and tell them what I'm doing now. Where I'm at in my life. No, I'm just enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah.
Let them do their thing. I no longer need to be in there and breaking the huddle or be the center of attention. I'm very much in a space in my life where I want stuff for other people,
Right.
not for me. I'm okay. I don't need to be the face of anything. I just want to create a space for people where they can enjoy themselves and have a good time and feel like they're thriving. And that's part of the reason when I got back home, I started running. I started going outside. I started on my own street at first. Around the corner, there's a hill. I can run up the street. I started running. I'm like, I got to get my body back. I love the fact they said I can play, but I know that I can't.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to if I needed to. Not because I don't want to play, but I still want to feel like I have that in me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I started running. I started running these hills, and Michelle was running with me. I started running the small dirt hill. The hill that we walked up originally to get up there was the hill that I would run first.
I wish we ran that.
That's the hill that I was running all last year.
Is it Concord?
Yeah, and I would sprint that hill on a regular basis, and I'll be by myself out there. And I would come back and I would talk to the camera, and I'm talking about X, Y, and Z, this and that. And I had this vision of having people out there running with me, right? And I started moving over to the other side, and I found that little pavement hill. I started running that by myself.
The pavement hill.
Yeah, I started running that by myself. And then a couple of my friends said, we would love to run that with you on, one of these days. So one day I called them out there, and my buddy Aki and D'Angelo, they came out there and they got in there with me. And then week from there, we just started growing. I'm like, it don't matter. Come out, run, walk, jog, have a conversation. But it's like even if you're in your 30s, your early 40s, it's young.
Yeah.
You decide how old you want to be when you want to be.
Right.
Like you said, you were 3 weeks out of surgery and you were cranking up the thing.
I don't know about cranking.
No, you were moving enough. To be honest with you, for you, I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe you just got a bad knee. I would have never known that you had surgery. You know what I'm saying? Like to even be in that position mentally, to be able to say, I'm going to crank up. And that's no easy hill.
Yeah.
Especially when you get up toward that top.
Yeah.
That thing goes like this when you get up toward the top.
It was not
That
an
hill
easy
is-
hill, sir.
It wasn't.
I gotta see this hill.
And
That
he
hill
was
is-
cranking that thing out post surgery, and your wife was really. The girls still talk about how your wife was cranking
She
that
was
thing
going.
out.
She was going.
She
For our
was getting
listeners,
after it.
though, can you tell us the days and the times you have this?
Yeah.
So typically, I like to go Tuesdays and Saturdays at 10 a.m. These last few Tuesdays, I've been solo, right? I know folks have work and things like that during the week, but they'll typically always find me out there,
Right.
trying to get some work in. And I've really transitioned back to actually doing football work on the field. I've gotten back into just changing direction and stuff. It's just good for my body. You know what I mean? Just to still have that movement and that feeling.
Muscle
And then-
memory comes back too.
And then I start pushing up that hill at least a couple times. Like I said, and you don't have to go out there with the expectation of sprinting. You know, you come out there with the idea, okay, maybe I'll walk this week. Maybe I'll work next week to jog. And then eventually you'll start cranking those things out.
Yeah.
It's good work.
Let me take a quick second here to speak for Brandon and Aki, who is actually a really cool dude. They're really cool about it. I gotta admit, I had some anxiety because I was going up there. I'm like, I don't know what I can do. Both of these dudes came up to me and were like, just do what you can. No expectations, just do what you can. And I would say, more so than exercise, kind of to what you were speaking to here, actually a lot to what you were speaking to here, more so than exercise, treat this as community. It was a good chance to meet people from the same neighborhood, figuring out what people were up to, but also just getting in shape. So if that's something for you, then connect with Brandon, connect with Aki and this whole crew here.
No, that is a great thing, right? I spoke about this at some point too.
Yeah,
right?
we were
Because
talking about it.
There's gonna be some single women out there, some single men out there.
Oh, he was talking to you.
And, no, I'm saying as we continue to grow this thing, right? You know, this is not a space where we want your money. We don't have any interest in your money. We just want your time and energy, right? And you come out there and you pour into yourself. But a lot of these folks that are there have good careers, are down to earth people that are driven. These are the kind of people that you say, okay, I can sustain a life with, right? So building a community like that, that's where you want to be. Not you know, you can go to the club later, but I might meet somebody of quality out here. That's if you have the discipline to come out and push yourself on a Saturday morning, that's somebody that you might want to talk to. Right, so those are things.
And
to look
there was
into
2 to
also.
3 strollers there too, so this is a whole family-friendly environment.
Absolutely, bring the kids, let them play.
Bring the strollers.
Let them run. Let them see you push yourself. Also, they'll replicate that later.
What I like hearing about this is you were talking about your lesson dealing with kind of ego when you were at San Jose State of learning how to lead from the front, and so this is kind of like your serendipitous moment, right? To just, you know, it's not for the money, not for the ego, it's just for the community, and just leading from the front, just doing something that gets everybody active, engaged, meeting each other, learning, right? Being active.
It's no more about. It's not about me. That's the biggest thing. It's not about me. It's about people just feeling good about themselves and pouring into themselves and pouring into the people around them, right? Building a trusting community. That's what it's about now.
That's great.
So, as we close off, Brandon Rutley, thank you for being with the second half.
Yes, thank you.
Camera on you.
Yeah.
Your chance to tell everyone here who doesn't know anything about the B-Rut saga, the B-Rut legacy, you, Michelle, and Sage, what the Saturday and Tuesday turnips are about. Go for it.
Yeah, no, actually, you know, I got Michelle on right now. She'll see me finish this off.
Nice, perfect
She'll
time.
see me finish this off.
Perfect.
Talk about serendipity.
What's up, Michelle?
Hold on, baby. So no. First off, I want to say thank you guys for having me. This has been extremely special. I think what's more important, like I said, it's not about me at this point. It's about pouring into others, and that's what we do as a family and as a community. You know, everybody that you'll meet with our group, they pour into other people.
Yes.
Right? And that's what it's about right now. If you want to watch some old highlights and stuff like that, you can do that on YouTube. But I'm not about that football life and all those things anymore. I'm more about my family and building out a community that that's meaningful and that's trusting to us. And that's where our life is, and that's where our life is going. So again, I'm appreciative, I'm grateful, and I'm just happy I got a chance to be here and connecting with all of you on this second half, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not even about, nobody really has a real dad bod over here neither, so you guys are all doing well. So
Thank you.
That's
real gracious of you.
yeah, you guys don't look like shit. You
I don't know, he got a little dad bod action.
That boy,
that's why he's slick right now.
We're going to get him out.
Yeah. Well, Brandon Rutley, thank you, man. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Right on, brother. This is great.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to come run this hill.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You
Absolutely.